Hello there. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. You're my favorite person right now, and I just wanted to let you know I'm doing all I can to see that you make rapid growth and progress on this your musical journey, your musical adventure. And I also wanted to tell you I am super happy. I am glad that you gave me the honors and the privilege to be part of your journey. I cannot wait to see you get to your destination, your dream voice, calling my name. So I'm like, yeah, I owe all this to Coach Marshall. He has been a big part of my journey. I seriously cannot wait. Okay, with that being said, welcome to your 30-day podcast marathon, Everything Vocal Registers. And today, we're going to be talking about the head voice. Yes, we're done with the chest voice. And we move. Teach me all while you're walking. Help me be still. Satan is busy. God is real. Order my steps in your word. Please order my steps in your word. I know, right? I've had a very busy day, and that is my stressed voice. Nevertheless, we are still doing this episode, and today we're talking about the head voice. Okay, if you listen to that sample, you must have heard something like that before. This would not be your first time, and most of you already have an idea of what the head voice is. I'm still going to teach it for some of us who have no knowledge on singing whatsoever. So this sound is not just for countertenors or for divas, for the high and mighty sopranos. No, the head voice holds a potential for every singer. Every single person has a potential in their head voice. It may not be bright as other voice types. For example, a baritone's head voice cannot be as bright as a tenor's head voice, whose head voice cannot be as bright as a countertenor's head voice, like that. Alright? So, what exactly is the head voice? Unlike the rich, grounded tones of the chest voice, the head voice produces a lighter, a brighter sound, and many people describe it as a floating or ethereal, heavenly, divine. Think of the chest as the earth, strong, balanced, seated, and think of the head voice as the sky, sunshine, the clouds. Yes. Interestingly, despite the name has caused a lot of misconceptions, because when you say head voice, some people believe it comes from the head, but that's not true. That's not true. The resonance doesn't actually happen in your head, but the vibratory pattern of your vocal cords is different when it comes to the head voice. I'm going to allow Coach Joel come and give us a little more explanation on that. Okay? So quickly, let's dive into the differences between the male and the female head voice. For the male singers, the head voice typically sits lower than the female voice. Of course, the female has a more higher voice than the males, with exception to countertenors. The female voice is always seated higher than the males. Their talking voice, their chest voice is seated higher than the male's talking voice. Their head voice also is seated higher than the male head voice. Okay, so for female singers, the head voice often starts slightly higher than the male head voice, and its brightness and richness is also definitely more than the male voices. The head voice isn't just for that place where you just go and shine. No, that's not what it's for. When you blend it with your chest voice, it creates that holy grail of singing, the mixed voice. And the mixed voice gives you a wider range, gives you more expression, helps you to bridge your chest and your head voice. So the think of it as a secret ingredient for smooth transition for your going up and down. Okay, now for male singers, mastering the head voice is often not as easy as for the female singers because of the differences in their anatomy, in their vocal anatomy. So it's quite harder for the male than for the females. I do not say it's impossible, and I do not say with training you will not be able to master it. I'm just saying it is more harder for the male to train to have this really perfectly trained head voice than the females, just because of the anatomical differences. Most guys have difficulty accessing their head voice. They often flip into falsetto. I usually tell people it's not a crime for you to start from the falsetto level. Okay, there's this big fight, there's this big quarrel, there's this can of worms. If you want a problem to happen, if you want a conundrum to happen in a room filled with vocal coaches, just say the word. What's the difference between falsetto and head voice? And there you go. The hustle tussle will begin, because this is a topic that has been debated over the years, and till now it's still under contention. There's still so much controversy all around it. However, we're going to work with a definition here on the Making Musical Quantum Lips. I'm not going to be getting involved in that hustle tussle today. Because Joel is going to be coming around tomorrow and he's going to continue from there. But like I said, for guys, most times your head voice is usually not worked on, is not strong, and it is totally fine to start from falsetto. When you begin to get more vocal cord closure, you get to understand all this stuff by tomorrow. Okay, so as you continue to proceed and with training from your falsetto, it would eventually move and become that powerful head voice you're working on. And for ladies, especially those of you with classical background, everything is not all about your head voice. I know you have a powerful head voice and you've been taught that sopranos should always sing in their head voice, but it is not always about that, because you hear them, like I listen to them a lot, especially people with Catholic and apostolic backgrounds. So they're singing and they are really going down where they should have transitioned into their chest voice, but they still pull down their head voice, pull it really low, and it becomes really weak and breathy. It's not supposed to be so. You have a full spectrum at your disposal, your chest, your middle, and your head. But I see them do that a lot, and it's something that it should not be, especially for contemporary singing. It can work for classical singing and that, but for contemporary singing, for your normal worship sessions, please to stop pulling down your head voice. Stop pulling it down. Allow yourself to transition. Okay? Allow yourself to transition. Final note on this matter. Everybody's head voice is not going to sound the same. Do not kill yourself because your head voice does not sound like that superstar you want to sound like. And do not give up working on your full voice in exchange for your head voice. Okay, how do I explain this? Typically, my journey as a singer, I went through a phase where because I wanted to really strengthen my head voice, so I totally abandoned my chest voice and I sang in my head voice every time. I literally abused it. There's no such thing as abuse, but literally I sang in my head voice every time. In fact, if I would join a new choir, I wouldn't just join them. I would just quickly go to the sopranos. I wouldn't join tenor. Never. I'll just go to the soprano straight away and sing with my head voice. But come on, don't do that, alright? Work on your full voice every time so that you will not lag, because what really happened was I later developed a really powerful head voice and such a weak chest voice, like really weak. So I had to go back again and begin to train my chest voice, and that actually slowed down my journey. But if I trained everything wholesomely I would have been balanced, okay? So I had to go back to start thinking deep and learn to belt again, although I'm still not a very good belter. Oh my god, I just said another thing. We get to understand what that means later. So, of course, I'm not really a good belter, but I still had to go back to learn all this stuff. So, work on your voice wholly. I know the next question somebody wants to ask me is, how do I? We're getting there. So, I have to stop here for today. Our time is fast spent. Thank you so much for listening. I love you so much and I totally believe in you.
And that'll be all for today's episode. Our song for today is ABBA by Marizu, and our quote for today is, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything, by an anonymous person. If you've not followed us on Spotify and on Audiomack, the handle is The Making Musical Quantum Lips, and on YouTube at Eden School of Sounds. Do not forget to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell another person the good news, and make sure you share the link to this episode and to the other episodes to all your socials and to anybody you know who would benefit from it. Bye.